Right up here. Yeah, we got
Rope?
Yeah, right here. That's a military term.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And when they come in and they haven't shaved, this is the old days, they don't shave nowadays. They come in and say, "Mister, you need to stand a little closer to your razor." But that's a rope.
I understand that.
Have a good trip.
We have been.
So you doing okay?
I'm doing well. How about you?
I'm doing good.
Good.
Oh, yeah.
How's everything down in Enterprise?
Doing just great. I don't know, I ain't been there in 2 weeks, so I'm headed back home. I've been in Mobile.
Ah, okay. Well, let's see. Work. All right, I'd like to call the August 13th, 2021 Environmental Management Commission to order. We have a quorum present, and our first item is the consideration of the minutes for the meeting held on June 11th, 2021. These have been circulated to all the members, and I will accept a motion regarding acceptance or rejection.
Move to approve. Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by raising your right hand. All opposed, same sign. Motion passes. We'd like to now call on Director LaFleur for his report.
Good morning. Welcome to all of you present for the final meeting of the Alabama Environmental Management Commission for fiscal year 2021. Today's report will focus on the department's environmental justice and related activities. I'll also recognize the achievements of 2 of our personnel. Environmental justice has been receiving increased attention recently with the new federal administration. The recent attention is nothing new for the Commission. For many years, the Commission has expressed an ongoing interest in the environmental justice, often referred to as EJ, and related activities of the department. It's now part of our regular reporting routine to update you on environmental justice and related activities, which is the focus of today's report. It's been 2 years since the last report to the Commission on this topic. The 2014 and 2019 updates to the 5-year Unified Strategic Plan of the Commission and the Department have clear objectives related to fair treatment of and proactive outreach to all stakeholders, particularly those in minority and disadvantaged communities. The annual operating plans of the Department implement efforts to achieve those objectives. Environmental justice is related to civil rights law, diversity, environmental regulation, and social justice. All of these fall under the heading of fair treatment. I'll begin with some highlights of the major milestones in our nation's journey toward fair treatment, and then report on ADEM's activities to achieve our goals in this area. Title VI of the Civil Rights Act of 1964 prohibits the recipients of federal funds from engaging in the discriminatory treatment of individuals based on race, color, or national origin. It is the law. ADEM receives federal funds and is therefore subject to the law. In the late 1960s, the movement toward diversity began to take hold as a concept and has developed over the years to encompass the ideas of equity and inclusion, with a number of initiatives, including at least one presidential executive order related to federal government executive branch employment. ADEM embraces the concepts of diversity, equity, and inclusion. On the environmental side of fair treatment, In the 1970s, the Clean Air Act, Clean Water Act, Safe Drinking Water Act, and the Resource Conservation and Recovery Act became laws. The state of Alabama, through ADEM, has been delegated authority to administer those federal environmental laws under conforming state laws. The formal concept of environmental justice came about through a 1994 presidential executive order to address perceived environmental burdens borne by low-income and minority populations. Although presidential executive orders are only binding on certain federal agencies, including EPA, in the executive branch of the federal government, ADEM has determined EJ is a worthy concept and voluntarily embraces the EJ Fair Treatment goals. For a number of years, environmental justice areas in Alabama have been defined as those census blocks in Alabama with a non-white population of greater than 36%, which is 120% of the statewide non-white population percentage, and those census blocks with a median household income below 120% of the poverty level. EPA is currently utilizing terms such as underserved, disadvantaged, marginalized, or overburdened, so the definition of environmental justice communities or areas may be refined in the future. Until the process is completed, we will continue to utilize non-white and low-income census data. Before going into detail on the ADEM environmental justice activities, I want to provide some additional perspective on the EJ programs at EPA. EJ was identified as a centerpiece for the new federal administration. However, it is currently in the process of getting organized. Until EPA develops a new plan, ADEM is continuing to incorporate elements of the EPA EJ 2020 Action Agenda that was developed in 2014 and updated in 2016. The ADEM EJ program incorporates the three main goals of the EPA EJ 2020 Action Agenda. They are, first, to deepen EJ practices to improve the health and environment of overburdened communities. This includes engaging those communities in rulemaking, permitting, and compliance issues, as well as employing innovative tools to communicate with all stakeholders. In a few moments, I'll highlight some specific and innovative actions the department is taking in this area. The second goal is to work with various partners to expand our positive impact within overburdened communities. This involves working with our state government and local governments, federal agencies, primarily EPA, and non-governmental community organizations. The third goal is to demonstrate progress on significant environmental justice challenges, with particular emphasis in the areas of lead disparities, drinking water quality, air quality, and hazardous waste sites. This is the area where ADEM has for some time been out ahead of EPA. While ADEM's EJ program includes the major EPA EJ 2020 Action Agenda goals, ADEM goes well beyond what EPA is doing. When considering EPA's programs to promote fair treatment for all individuals in our state, we must also be aware of the backdrop of history. Alabama's history from many years ago included discriminatory practices. Try as we might, and despite much evidence to the contrary, those less familiar with Alabama harbor preconceived skepticism about our commitments to fair treatment and proactive outreach to all Alabamians. This creates hurdles the department must overcome. For example, EPA has audited the department's civil rights non-discrimination program more than any other non-discrimination program in the nation. I'm pleased that each audit determined the program met or surpassed all legal requirements. Indeed, today's report will highlight how the department goes beyond simply complying with the law. It will show that we are going the extra mile to invest in activities to achieve fair treatment for all those in our state. Looking at the ADEM EJ program, we begin by highlighting that ADEM has dedicated the necessary human resources to make our EJ efforts successful. EJ coordinators have been designated in our air, land, water, and permits and services divisions. Because of the importance of this effort, the coordinators' EJ activities are overseen by the deputy director. The deputy director meets with the coordinators regularly to manage activities and to assess progress. The personnel assigned to coordinate EJ activities receive the specialized training necessary to be effective in their work. The ongoing training often involves EPA-sponsored programs. Training is an important step in all that we do. In addition to training our EJ coordinators, we formally train each of our personnel in the basic concepts of fair treatment. We begin with the requirements of the law. Title VI of the Civil Rights Act is 1964. We are all required to comply with the law, so each employee is trained in the requirements of the law. We utilize an online program developed by EPA that is now housed at the department. A formal diversity training program was implemented in 2020. The program was developed at the University of South Alabama at our request and covers the concepts of diversity, equity, and inclusion. As with Title VI, all personnel are required to complete the video training program. In addition to training our assigned EJ coordinators, as noted earlier, for the last 10 years, the department has provided in-house formal environmental justice training for every member of our staff. 2 years ago, the department reached out to EPA for input on its vision and implementation of EJ concepts. EPA had no EJ training program. Just last month, after 2 years of work, EPA and ADEM completed development of an EPA environmental justice training program. Every ADEM employee was required to complete that training program. EPA will now be using that program as the basis for EJ training throughout the nation. For a number of years, the department has been tracking what environmental results have actually been achieved in EJ communities. In its EJ 2020 plan, EPA is now beginning also to track results. It is worthwhile to note that the 12 EJ program metrics ADEM tracks have concentrations of between 64 and 100% in or abutting EJ communities. Our EJ areas have 64% of scrap tire cleanups, 65% of the recipients of special compliance assistance for above-ground storage tanks, 70% of illegal dump cleanups from the department's solid waste fund for innocent landowners, 78% of the air monitoring sites, 79% of the fish tissue sampling stations, 79% of the brown fields cleaned up, 92% of the non-point source pollution control project awards, 94% of the water bodies with total maximum daily load limits, 96% of our water quality sampling stations, 96% of the stream miles with total maximum daily load limits, 99% of the assessed water bodies, and 100% of the diesel retrofit grants. In addition to formal EJ training and tracking actual results, the department also gives extra credit ranking weight to EJ areas. When prioritizing which unauthorized dump sites are to be cleaned up, in eligibility for partial principal forgiveness in the Drinking Water and Wastewater State Revolving Fund loan programs, for demonstration projects in our scrap tire, recycling, and other programs, and extra ranking weight in the various grant programs administered by the department, to name a few. The department has also gone beyond activities that can be measured quantitatively with a number of fair treatment initiatives, such as special compliance assistance to local governments in EJ areas, enhanced marketing of low-interest state revolving fund loans to drinking water and wastewater systems in disadvantaged communities, targeted health and education initiatives in EJ areas, focused brownfield redevelopment in low-income and minority areas of Alabama, increased community meetings and listening sessions in EJ areas, especially during high-interest permitting activities, direct mailings to every household within a given radius for high-interest actions in EJ communities. I hope it's evident the department is dedicated to fair and proactive outreach to all stakeholders, especially those in minority and disadvantaged communities. We embrace the goals set out in EPA's EJ 2020 Action Plan. Specific personnel are assigned to coordinate the department's EJ activities. All our employees are formally trained in the principles of fair treatment. We use metrics to measure actual results. A hand-up and tailored outreach is offered to disadvantaged communities. ADEM fair treatment activities are systematic, focused, and results-oriented. These efforts are not mandated by statute or regulation. Copies of a more detailed outline of ADEM's environmental justice and related activities, along with a reference copy of a compilation of the department's broader community outreach activities, included in a booklet titled Community Engagement, are available on the table in the lobby for review. The booklet is a living document subject to update and input from interested parties. The electronic version of Community Engagement is available on the homepage of the department's website. The reason we put the document online is to provide the public a way to hold the department accountable for its activities to ensure fair treatment for all individuals in Alabama. Moving on to the accomplishments of some of our personnel. Our employees are our most valuable resource, and their professional development is important to our success. Professional development is an important ongoing departmental objective. Today, I'm pleased to recognize two individuals who have reached that significant milestone of having earned the designation Professional Engineer. The PE designation requires educational achievement, rigorous testing, and extensive on-the-job experience. Kel Marzette, there you are. Would you please stand? And we have Skylar Sanderson from our Air Division, Kel is from our Land Division. I want to thank you both for your hard work. And congratulations. We're a stronger organization because of your work. Thank you very much for being here. With that, I'll close out my report and answer any questions that you may have.
Anyone with a question or comment? Thank you, Director.
Thank you.
Next on our agenda is the report from the Commission Chair And I would like to thank Debbie for getting us set up into the old-timey COVID setup again today with the resurgence of Delta. We sort of just need to be more careful than we used to be. Our next item is item 4, a petition to amend Administrative Code Rule 335-3-3.01, the open burning section. We have received a petition from James Inslee from Moody, Alabama, and I have asked the department to look over his submission and give us their views on what they think of this petition. And we're going to call on Mr. Inslee and the department today for comments. Is Mr. Inslee here?
Yes, sir.
Oh, there you are, okay. Please come forward, take your time.
Morning, how are y'all?
Good morning.
Me? All right, so appreciate y'all having me back. Director Floor, I appreciate what you do for your employees. I'm an HR director by profession, so when I see him, bringing people that have done good at work, to the table, that's always awesome to see that recognition. So good job on that. So moving on to my thing, so I did get the response. I'm guessing y'all all read this, right? So it's a slam dunk. There's no way you can fight this. There's no way y'all could vote against this. To be honest with you. So and that's a good job on his part for writing it, but it's sad at the same time. So I do what I always do when I have to give a response to legal briefings. I go through line by line and I make notes. I try to come up with my rebuttals, whatever. And I did the same thing on this, but when I got done, I realized how frustrated I was at it. And for 3 things. One is the rules for ADM allow for the public to come and voice concerns, petition for change, things like that. But they're designed in such a way that you can't really do anything about it. So even in this own response, it's the ADM is requiring the individual citizen like me, an average citizen like me that has very limited resources, to provide all this data that is just impossible for me to attain. I would have to have a lot of money, a staff, a team that can do all this study research statewide, and there's no way the average citizen can actually do that. And beyond that, would you want the word of an average citizen that has no, experience in the environmental management world, or do you want the person that is the expert conducting those surveys, collecting that data? So there's rule 1. That's the first thing I came across. The second thing is, it seems that ADM is not open to change. So, and it's evident in this slam dunk right here. It could have been a simple, hey, the EPA binds our hands, there's nothing we can do, and I could have settled for that. But we went through 3 pages of picking me apart. At one point saying that this is only convenient for me. So, to me, that just says that they're just not open to change. And the other part of that is they gave a slam dunk rejection of my petition without even picking up a phone, giving me a call. Hey, I would have accepted, look, I'm going to deny your petition. Here's why. Let's talk about it. Have a conversation. That's it. No conversation took place. So to me, that just says that, the average citizen cannot come and actually petition for change and it be taken seriously.
Well, Mr. Inslee, you do realize that the department can't reject your petition. They can't call you.
You're right.
And tell you that they have rejected it. So
I'm not referring to the commission itself. I'm referring to the department itself.
I'm referring to the department too. They can't call you and tell you that they've rejected it.
I understand that. But what I'm getting at is if they were open to change, they were open to real conversation, at least they would have picked up the phone. Let's talk about it. This is what we got. These are the rules that are binding our hands. I'm not saying I'm going to reject you, but these are the rules that are binding our hands. This is why we can't do certain things this way. It's because of this. So that would have been helpful. That would have been understanding. So that's all I'm getting at. The only other thing I got on here was in the conclusion it says my one-size-fits-all approach would be a burden. Currently what we have is a one-size-fits-all approach. It was my submission that was going to open it up for options, not just the 500-foot rule, you're done. I've walked off my land a dozen different times, and from my neighbor's house, the furthest I can get is 400 feet. Burning a pile of leaves at 400 feet with the wind blowing the opposite direction is not the same as burning a pile of leaves beside a house that's 15 feet beside me in a garden community. That's not the same. Even the fire department comes out there and looks and says, this is ridiculous. Now, I know you have to worry about particulates in the air. I get that. I'm not dismissing any of that, I promise. All I'm saying is the one-size-fits-all approach is what we currently have, and that is what I'm just trying to get changed, is to have that opened up and to have more options for that. You know, in the past 4 months, I've now seen 47 burns, open burns. I'm willing to bet none of them still have ever heard of this rule, because if they had and they've gotten a citation like I've gotten, they wouldn't be even attempting to burn again because they don't want to risk getting a $25,000 fine. But 47 of them. And then my changes, I even look. I'm very familiar with how far 500 feet is now because I've walked it many times. And of those, I guarantee only 39 of those would not have been affected by those changes. 39 of 47 would not have been affected by my changes. I don't think, again, I don't have the evidence, I cannot prove this, but I do not think that making these changes is going to make that huge of an impact on our environment. You said this would be a financial impact. I suggested we had burn permits in winter months when the particulates are low. Burn permits can be a fee. It's a trade-off. You can burn within 500 feet for a fee. There's your financial burden relieved from that. So, I mean, again, I've read this. There are rules. He has the right to say that EPA says we got to do this, we got to do that. His hands are tied. I get it. Y'all cannot vote against this. All I'm saying is the way it's being done is not right. And that's all I got to say. So I thank y'all very much for at least attempting to listen to me. All right?
Thank you.
Y'all have a great day.
Thank you for coming up.
Oh, I'm sorry. Questions? Yep.
We didn't just attempt to listen to you, we have listened.
Well, I appreciate that very much. I'm not a public speaker by trade.
Could we have a response from the department, please?
Sure. Good morning, y'all. My name is Sean Sibley. I'm the general counsel here at ADEM. We did give you a real detailed response, the recommendation of the director, and we understand it is your decision, it's not ours. And we understand Mr. Inslee's position. We understand the dilemma he's in. But as a state agency that has statewide, authorization to administer the Federal Clean Air Act, we have to look at the big picture. And the big picture is this would, as proposed, would adversely affect air pollution. In other words, it would increase it if everybody in the state was able to have open burns that were only 100 feet, as opposed. Now, Mr. Inslee did propose some alternatives, but our position is the EPA would not approve those. As this rule stands now, it is approved in the state implementation plan. EPA would consider this as backsliding, and it would jeopardize our approval, our authorization to administer the Federal Clean Air Act. We've completely identified with Mr. Inslee. We understand his dilemma, the size of his lot. Believe me, we looked at that, and and just so you know, we have to go element by element when we give you a recommendation, and we did that. And just so you know, the Air Division did respond to Mr. Inslee when he first reached out. And we didn't go line by line, but we did mention that this would impact federal authorization. So he knew that on the front end. And so if he, I understand we didn't call. I did send him a courtesy copy of what the director's views were. But early on, he knew that there was, some issues with our authorization. And I would be glad to entertain any questions that y'all have. Again, we understand the dilemma that he's in. So.
Anybody with questions, comment? Thank you.
Thank you.
At this point, I suppose the next item would be to accept a recommendation or a motion as to whether we accept or reject the petition. Hello?
I move to deny the petition for rulemaking based on the views of the director opposing the petition. And if granted, the petition would negatively impact the department's regulatory scheme.
All right, we have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
And a second. Any further discussion?
I guess the only thing I'd say is I empathize with the position this needs. I mean, brought up some practical points, but the backsliding issue is kind of like the huge thing that bothers me. And I think as a person who has in excess of 37 years in the environmental, that's what I did. I can appreciate the position of the department and almost the dilemma that they were in that respect. So, but I think it's hard to make a one-size-fits-all situation for sure. But I applaud your attempt. You know, it's not easy, and I applaud you for trying to make a difference and recognize the potential difficulties that's involved.
I'd echo that. I agree with you. I mean, I understand your frustration, but I feel like our hands are sort of tied at this point. So, anyway, let's vote on the motion and the second. All in favor of the motion, please signify by raising your right hand. All opposed, same sign. We have a unanimous vote. Sorry about this. All right, thank you, Debbie. As far as other business, I have here a copy, and I think all the commissioners have received, and the comments regarding Director LaFleur's evaluation, which will be brought up at our October meeting. With regard to that, talking with Commissioner Walters, there's sort of a problem with the Personnel Committee in that they have 3 members, and Robert, I want you to comment on this. They have 3 members, so they really can't talk to each other because that represents a quorum. So it's sort of a catch-22. They can't discuss what's happening with their work without coming up here and having a formalized meeting with minutes, etc. What, do you have any ideas about that?
Dr. Miller, you're correct. If either one of the committee members were to speak with each other, that would, and conduct any business behind the scenes, that would constitute a quorum and probably a violation of the open meetings laws, so there really is no recourse other than for them to convene a meeting, publicly, that is properly noticed, so that they can conduct business. The only other option would be for, I guess, the commission to act and abolish the personnel committee and just handle all personnel matters itself.
Well, I think we probably need sort of a subcommittee approach.
Right.
What about adding more commissioners to the committee?
That would be an option. That way, if one commission member needed to pick up the phone and talk to somebody else, they could have a conversation, without it constituting a quorum.
Is a quorum 66%? Is that what it is, or?
It's a majority, I believe.
Well, suppose we made the chairman of the commission a member of both the committees. That way, could two commissioners talk to each other about the workings of the committee without breaking the law?
That would be, how many members on the committee?
That would be the 3 we have now, plus the chairman, which would be 4. So if 2 were talking out of 4, would that?
Yeah, I would just request some time to look into that.
Okay.
And then report back to you. I don't want to give you an answer right now, and it not be the correct answer.
Yeah.
My recommendation would be, for purposes of the October meeting, just to move forward as it is, and then if you wanted to make any changes in the future, to institute those later.
Well, I think that's fine. I just don't want the committee to be
Yeah.
hamstrung or scared they're going to be, handcuffed or whatever.
I understand completely.
Okay. Well, I just think that's a problem that we need to try to resolve one way or the other.
I understand.
All right, we
I'll be
look
glad to-
forward to your recommendation.
Okay, I'll be glad to get back with you. All right.
Okay, good. All right, our next meeting is scheduled for October the 8th. Is there any known conflict with that date at this point? All right. We have our public comment period, and we have no one registered to speak. So I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Got plenty of motions in second, so. All in favor, raise your right hand. Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you all for coming.